Hey guys, what's going on? So in this video, we'll be learning about Git Branch. So if you remember, in the first few lectures, we talked about branched workflow, about Git's branched workflow. So Git Branch implements exactly that. So let's go ahead and understand what exactly is branching. So in this illustration, you can see that there is a branch called master branch, and the master branch is responsible for carrying the finalized codes. And then there are other set of branches called feature branches where we experiment with stuffs. So the reason why we create feature branch is that suppose we want to add a new feature and we can't directly add it to the master branch, because if suppose anything goes wrong, say you accidentally deleted the branch or something, then you are up to some serious trouble. Now, Git branch will allow you to create branches, and you can introduce new features in branches and experiment with the codes in these branches without affecting the master branch. And now you may ask, hey, I experimented a lot and I came up with a really good feature, and I would really want this feature to be inserted into the master branch. So you can insert into the master branch via something called Git merge that we'll be covering in this lecture only. And when you merge that feature into the master branch, then the feature will get reflected in the main project. Alright, enough talk, let's get started. Alright, so I am in my working directory. So let's quickly go ahead and open the git bash and cd into this directory. So one thing to note is that whenever you initialize a git, it is by default in the master branch. So whenever you want to check which branch you are in right now, what you can do is type git branch, hit enter. Now you can see that master is written followed by an asterisk. So whenever a branch name is followed by an asterisk, it shows you which branch you are currently in. Alright, so let's come back to our Visual Studio Code. Okay, so we will be covering this topic with the help of an example. So let's suppose run.py is an application which deals with the login verification. Let's suppose you already wrote a code for this run.py, which is in the master branch, which means that run.py is the finalized application. And let's suppose we already have this code inside run.py. So what this function does is it will check for valid username. And let me tell you that this is a dummy program. So, just to show you how branching works, for that purpose only I created this function. Now, is valid username, check whether the username is hello and return true, otherwise it returns false. Now let's quickly add it and commit. Open git bash, type git status. You can see run.py is modified, git commit -am added function to check username. Enter. Now this code is committed. Now what I want is I want to now create a new function which will check for the password. Now as I told you, whenever you introduce a new feature, you don't directly commit it inside the master branch. For that, you follow the branch to workflow, and in order to follow the branch to workflow, we create a branch. So let's quickly go ahead and create a branch with name password. So in order to create a branch, there are two ways. Both of them use a similar command, but the approach is different. The first way is to type git branch and then the branch name. So in our case, we would name the branch password, hit enter. Now, if we type git branch and list out all the branches, you would see that there is another branch next to master, and that is password. Now, remember that we are still at the master branch. Notice the asterisk before master. Now, before you start working on any branch, you need to actually check out that branch. So to check out that branch, you need to type git checkout followed by the branch name, password, hit enter. Now as you can see, you have switched to the branch. Now let's type git branch again, and you can see that now you are at the password branch. Now one thing to note here is that whatever change now I do at my run.py file would not be reflected at the master branch. That means will not be reflected in my main code. It will be residing inside the password branch. So it will only be reflected inside the master branch when I decide to merge it with the master branch. Alright, so let's get started and work in the password branch. Now since I'm in the password branch, let's add a function which will check for the password. So let me quickly paste a dummy function. Say is valid password. Now if I save it and you would commit it normally, for that let's go to git bash and type git status. You can see we have modified the run.py because we have recently introduced that is password function. Now let's commit it -am and added password checker and hit enter. Cool. Now if we check the status, you can see that our working area is clean. Now remember that we are still at the password branch. Let me show you git branch. We haven't come out of the password branch. Now let's check the difference between the progress of what is there in the master branch and what is there in the password branch. If you remember, in the previous video we learned about Git Diff. We can actually do that to check the recent commits between two different branches. So we have two branches named master and password. So let's find the difference between their recent updates. So type git diff, name the first branch, let's say master, dot dot, the second branch name password, hit enter. Now right now you can see that up to this much part before no new line at the end of file is of master branch. So it is of the run.py inside the master branch, and matter modification we did after no new line at the end of file, that is from return false all the way till another return false, is now inside the run.py. So all the way till here is inside the run.py of master branch, and from return false all the way till this return false is now updated inside the password branch. That was a difference that I wanted to show you. Okay, so that's how you put updates in branches. So in any way, if I mess up this valid password, nothing would happen inside this master branch, because master branch is safe and sound, since password branch is a different branch, and whatever mistake that you do or matter whenever you screw up something, it won't be reflected inside the master branch. Now when you're satisfied with the password branch, you can actually merge it to the master branch so that this would be reflected there. In order to merge, you need to first check out the branch towards which you need to merge. So we need to merge towards master branch. So let's check out towards that. So in order to do that, type git checkout and the name of the branch, master. And we are back at the master branch. Let me show you. There you go. And now we can merge things from different branches. Now we wanted to merge from the password branch. So let's merge password branch towards master branch. In order to do that, type git merge password and hit enter. You can see that with this, the password branch would be merged towards the master branch. Now, the reason why there is a fast forward branch is that Git did not find any merge conflicts inside master and password branch. So this merge conflict and resolve merge conflict we will be discussing in the intermediate and advanced concept of Git or in the later video. For now, just understand that Git has successfully merged the password branch into the master branch. Now let's check the status. Nothing to commit, and let's now check the difference between the password branch and the master branch. Git diff master dot password. If I hit enter, there is no difference, right? As you can see, there is no difference, which means whatever we had in the password branch is now being reflected inside the master branch. So let us revisit again. So initially what was there? We had run.py in the master branch containing the valid username. Now to introduce a new function, that is valid password, we did not directly write the code inside the master branch, because to follow the branched workflow, we created a new branch called password, and there we added these lines of code. And when we are satisfied with these lines of code, we merged the password branch back to the master branch. As soon as we merged back to the master branch, the feature that we introduced got reflected inside the master branch as well. If we go back and look at the Git bash, we can see that first we created password branch. Now we switched to that branch using Git Checkout password, and then we added and commit the changes inside the password branch. We are satisfied with this feature function and we want to merge it inside the master branch. So in order to do that, first of all, get inside the master branch by doing Git Checkout master. And once we are inside the master branch, we are now open to all sorts of merges. Now what we did was we merged the password branch inside the master branch. In order to do that, we did git merge password, and it was a fast forward type of merging, and it was successfully merged. And now we can see that the password branch is of no use and we can successfully delete it. In order to delete a branch, you type git branch -d and name of that branch. In this case, we want to delete the password branch, so type password, and branch was successfully deleted. Now let's check it by typing git branch, and we only have master branch. Now remember, I told you earlier that there is another way to create a branch, so let's look at that as well. So let me clear the screen. Actually, earlier what we did was we did git branch and we passed the branch name. So whenever I create a branch, say test, you would see that branch is automatically created, but right now I'm in my master branch only. So if I type git branch, you would see I am still inside master branch. Now there is a way in which you can create a branch and automatically check out the branch. So in order to do that, type git checkout -p and name of that branch, say test2, and hit enter. Now you would notice that we have created a new branch, as well as we are now inside that branch. And the rest of the process is same as that we did earlier. So let's go ahead and delete those two branches. At this point, I want to show you something. So if I do git branch -d, I can pass as many branches as I want with a space in between. Test2. And if I hit enter, you'll notice that cannot delete branch 2. That's because if you notice, we are currently checked out at this branch. Now, in order to delete a branch, you need to come out of that branch. Only then you would be able to delete it. So let's quickly come out of this test2 branch, git checkout towards the master branch. And now let's delete test2 branch. Git branch -d test2. Now that branch is successfully deleted. So we learned one of the most important aspect of Git, that is how to form a branch and how to delete a branch and then how to merge it. And the coming video, we'll be learning about remote repositories, in which we'll be creating an account in GitHub, and we'll be making use of GitHub to push our code from local machine to the online repository. Alright guys, that's all for this video. So if you really like this video, you can really support us by simply liking this video and subscribe to the channel. And you can also spread the word to others who want to learn about Git and other tech stack, where we can help them to learn. Okay guys, see you in the next lecture.